Hello everyone and welcome to Word on the Street. My name is Cyrilda Summers McGee and I'm the founder and CEO of Workplace Change, which is a human resources, change management, and diversity, equity, and inclusion firm based in the Pacific Northwest, but doing work all over the nation. So let's get to my perspective on a few different topics. Hello everyone and welcome to Word on the Street. So I am coming to you fresh from my family reunion in Lexington, Kentucky, where my family and I had a blast. But during my reunion, I found out a couple things. Number one, people watch these videos back home. Number two, they're interested in human resources. And number three, they've got some questions on their minds. And so it inspired me with some of the content for this series of Word on the Street. So today we're talking about mentorships, right? So what does mentorship mean in this post-COVID-ish time that we're in, where folks are working in hybrids and working virtually, etc.? Well, I've got some ideas and some suggestions for you, so let's get to it. All right, so a lot of cousins and even aunts and uncles were coming up and asking me about, working in this virtual environment. So these are FLSA exempt individuals, so people who are non-hourly employees. They're basically saying, hey, how do I get that mentorship? How do I find a person who can be effectively a sponsor of me? What is a sponsor in a workplace? A sponsor is someone who is basically supporting and endorsing you and getting you stretch opportunities and new assignments and upper mobility opportunities. Those are sponsorships. And usually it goes from mentor to sponsor more times than not. So folks are saying, I'm virtual. How do I even make this connection to get someone to become my mentor? I've got a couple ideas for you. So number one, if you work in a big organization and even a mid-sized organization, so 1,000 people or more, facilitated formal mentorship opportunities are still a very valuable resource, especially in a virtual environment. So these facilitated mentorship arrangements are basically kind of cohort models where you'll have an exec member or a member of the senior leadership team who is acting as a mentor, and then they have maybe 2 or 3 or 4 mentees, and the organization organizes events to come together, activities, socials, etc., but you begin to have a formal relationship with them. A second idea for you to consider is a more casual strategy, especially in a virtual environment, meaning where an organization, and it can even be your business resource group or your employee resource group, they facilitate bringing execs or senior leaders together with employees in a virtual environment just to get to know one another, so that it's not as awkward building that bridge of making a request for someone to be your mentor. Meaning, if I come in cold and I've never met you and I'm like, hey, you've got a cool title, you want to be my mentor? The likelihood of you spending time on me is low, right? But if we've been in these virtual environments where we're getting to know each other and there's icebreakers and you're sharing your story, and then I follow up with you, hey, I saw you or met you at this event, I'd love to go and have tea with you. It works. It can be incredibly effective. So consider those kind of virtual, supportive, facilitated environments. And it doesn't just have to be inside your organization. In Oregon, the Portland Business Journal puts on a women's mentorship event where you meet dozens of women who are interested in your career or interested in just meeting you, who they've seen virtually or who they've seen in social environments, or they've watched your career professionally, and it can really break the ice in you establishing a relationship with them. And the third idea that I have for you is more kind of management oriented, right? So if you're a new manager and you're basically trying to become a stronger manager of human beings, establishing a mentorship program inside your organization can be incredibly value adding, especially if you've got high functioning, high performing managers and you've got new managers that you want to become high performing. Establishing that kind of a formal arrangement could be incredible. And then there's a second component to the management mentorship approach that you should consider. And that is, if you, as an employee who's new inside of an organization, you will likely have moments where you either need to manage up or you need to manage laterally with your peers. Having someone that's not necessarily human resources, and I am human resources. I live and breathe human resources, but not all conflicts or frustrations need to be escalated to the human resources level. Having a manager who's not your manager that you can talk to and you can confide in and you can ask for advice on how to manage up or how to manage laterally is a great idea, and over time they can become a more traditional mentor for you. So word on the street is that people are struggling to find mentors in this virtual hybrid environment, and I've given you a couple ideas, but also know this: nothing takes the place of establishing a relationship with someone in person, shooting your shot and saying, will you be my mentor? And then going forward. That is always the strategy that's going to get you the most effective and the most high quality mentorship, sponsorship arrangement. So don't forsaken that for these more, structured approaches, but just know there are other options out there as well if you don't have that direct access point to execs and management because you're working from home. So that's this issue of word on the street. If you got other recommendations and suggestions, jump into the chat, join into the conversation. Thanks for listening.